Have you ever wondered who was actually winning the presidential race? Right? Not coming from the right or from the left, where you're going to have some type of twisted narrative and propaganda that needs to be put forth, but like what's actually going on, right? Because we know the news primarily leans left, and they like to put forth a narrative on the story that comes out because it's a business. The purpose of a business is to make money, and they're going to do that the way they see fit. Cool, that's how they want to run their business. But have you ever wondered what like the truth was? Well, I took the top two sites in the planet, Google and YouTube, and we looked at the search volume for each candidate in New York to see who's actually winning. With that being said, if it's your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good up I can see you. All right, let's get into it. So, I actually took this and I back tested it on 2016 for Clinton versus Trump, and it was the accurate predictor of who is going to win. When you looked at all the polls, there was I think 14 or 15 polls that all said Hillary was going to win, and then there was what I did here with this analysis, and this predicted the correct outcome that Trump was going to win. So I'm using that same framework now to look at who is winning in New York for their primary. So we have, this is SimilarWeb. This shows us that Google is the #1 site in the planet. YouTube is the second site in the planet. Another site that tracks all this, both of these, SimilarWeb and Alexa.com, track website traffic and other website metrics for competitive analysis or other types of research. And this is on Alexa.com, also has Google #1 and YouTube as #2. So these are the two biggest, most visited sites in the fucking planet, right? Look at some of the polls or surveys that come out by some of these organizations where you have 700 people responding or 1,400 people responding. New York has millions of people living there, and a sample size of 700 is supposed to represent what the collective in the entire state thinks, not including the many different biases that come into play when you're doing polling and surveying. You can just do your own Googling on that. Maybe I'll do a future video if you guys want to let me know down below. There's many, many, many different biases that come into the sampling, how they're framing, how the question is, how you're not only the sampling methodology, but the stratification of like how you're splitting that up. And there's many different issues that come into play there. So why not get like closer to the heartbeat of what's actually happening? When your boss is standing over your shoulder watching what you're doing, your behavior is one way. When your boss is on vacation, your behavior is a different way, right? So that's what we want to look at. When your boss is on vacation, what are people doing? And to do that, we use Google Trends. Google Trends tracks all of the search volume on the two most popular sites on the planet, and you can search within a geographic location. So here, obviously, we have New York over the past 12 months, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. And we get to see that there's a large discrepancy in terms of the amount of traffic, associated with, so basically there's 3 searches for Trump for every 1 search for Biden here. And we come into the 90 days, and we do the same thing. We look at the search volume for each one of these candidates over the time period of the last 90 days to see how things are trending, right? Again, it looks like Biden gained some ground from the 12-month to the past 3 months, which would make sense, right? Because there was the Democrat primary, and then everybody else dropped out, so now it's just Biden. So that would make sense, right? So, but it's still 2 searches for Trump versus 1 search for Biden, actually a little bit over 2 searches, right? And we can see there's a couple times where Biden's actually popped up above over the last 90 days what Trump has. And then it looks like there was these surges of attention that were an awareness that Biden gained, but they quickly dropped off, and he's been at a steady state now for a while underneath what Trump, the searches for Trump. This is in New York State. And this is on Google, not on YouTube. We're currently looking at Google, and then we're going to get into the actual numbers. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below in the comment section. Don't forget to press subscribe so you can follow this along as we progress, and you get to see the actual information of what people are actually interested in looking for on the web. I also did one based upon their website, right? How their website actually looks relative to the other person's website in terms of traffic and popularity, to see who's getting more traffic, right? Because if one website's getting more traffic than the other website, then it's a pretty good indicator that that one's more popular. So if you want to see that video, go back to the channel, check it out. It's 2 videos before this one. Then I came into the 30-day time period. This one here, you get to see, again, it's just trending, but over the last 30 days, Trump has increased the amount of attention that he's got, 52 to 20. So about 2.5, a little bit over 2.5 times as many searches for Trump. Every time somebody types Trump, blah, 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 every time somebody types in Donald Trump, they do that 2.5 times before there's one search for Joe Biden. Let's go back to the 12-month and really quickly get into the YouTube searches. Over here, Joe Biden does a better job. This is probably aligns with whatever happened in the 90-day period where Joe Biden gained a tremendous amount of attention, where it went past what Trump had. But on the 12-month, it looks like it's still roughly about 2.5 to 1, meaning 2.5 searches for Trump versus 1 search for Biden. Let's come into the 90-day search volume here. This one is pretty close. So this one's very close. It's still about 1.25 times greater, 1.35 times greater than, so every 1.35 searches, there is 1 search for Joe Biden versus 1.35 for Donald Trump. And you can see that it's much closer here, especially in this first half of the 90 days, where they're almost neck and neck. There's a little bit more blue than red here on the top half. But once we get to around the midpoint here, we have a giant spike for Joe. But then in this last, say, 3 weeks or so, or month, we have a bigger, we have a trend where Joe Biden's just on the bottom half in terms of the attention. Let's jump into the last 30 days and see how this looks here. So here we have it again, about a 2 to 1, 2 searches for Trump, 1 to Biden, actually slightly less, maybe 1.9 searches for Trump versus every 1 search for Biden. And what I did is I put that all together in this spreadsheet here. And we get to see that across the board, in every single one of these categories, Trump is winning. This is exactly how it played out in 2016 with Hillary and Trump. This is based upon millions and millions of searches in New York State specifically, not on 1,500 people who responded to some poll where all the methodologies and the ways the questions were asked and the stratification of what they were doing to split up the people who responded. And just from, if you do the research on the psychological side of just asking a question influences the answer, right? This is what people are doing when there's nobody else around. They're far more interested in what's going on with Trump than Biden. Could this be because he is president? Yeah, could be. But this is the same trend that was happening in 2016 when he wasn't president, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm going to do one for California coming up next. So make sure you guys press that subscribe button and that bell notification. If you found any value in this type of analysis, let me know down below in the comment section. Or if you want to help the channel out, share this video with somebody. Helps out the channel, helps spread the word that there's actually a better way to find the correct information without having some type of complete and utter twist to the data. You can, I'm telling you, I did it. You can go look at this yourself. You can make your own informed decisions. And that's where we need to be, where people actually take responsibility for their fucking life and start doing something instead of blaming it on somebody else. Appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.